So every anime fan out there knows what Shounen Jump is, a magazine in Japan where most Shounen Jump titles are currently at. Few of these examples that are well known in this day and age are One Piece, My Hero Academia, Dandadan, and many more. But then you also have older series like Kuchikame, Kinnikuman, and Jungle King Tachan, due to it being a massive magazine with a bunch of well and lesser known series. You would think that the game industry would be able to capitalize on it by making a fighting game around those IPs, which would make sense, since Shounen Jump is mostly known for its over-the-top fighting or the use of imagery for sports series. But for some reason, time and time again, the fighting game genre surrounding Shounen Jump's IPs just immediately flops. The best example for a game that had the most refunds in a short amount of time was Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash. It goes to show that the arena fighters just don't work. There are, however, a few exceptions to it. Case in point, the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series. Now, these aforementioned games are usually a tie-in towards the series, like Jujutsu Kaisen and Naruto. But what would have been cooler and far more interesting is a Shounen Jump fighting game, as every character is in a crossover game. Well, yes, there are games that have Jump in its title, the most recent one being Jump Force. I did actually play the game, and what do I think about it after completing the story of the game? God bless myself, it wasn't really good. The characters just looked bland, I just looked like an action figure. Even the story was bad and uninteresting. Maybe in the future I might talk about the game more in depth, but I am not ready to go through that again. But then begs the question, are there any good Shounen Jump fighting games out there? Which the answer is probably yes. Now, there are 4 games that I am aware of that are decently good. One of them I have played countless times before, but the first game I am aware of is called J-Star's Victory Versus, a game similar to Jump Force, but just looks and feels better. While I haven't played it myself, but I'm guessing it is better in every way. The second game is called Battle Stadium DON. DON is the initials Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto. This game seems to be more of a Smash Bros-esque game, with stages, movesets, and gameplay. The third game is Jump Superstars, a game similar to Battle Stadium DON, but has its own gameplay mechanic. Now, how do I know it has its own gameplay mechanic? Well, that is because the fourth game is called Jump Ultimate Stars, the sequel to Jump Superstars, and the one game I have played a lot, having multiple replay sessions in different years, and being a game from 2006, it is still a fun game to play. How I knew about the game, or at least what led me into that rabbit hole as a young teen, is, I am not even kidding, Dragon Ball Evolution. Now, keep in mind that I had not even watched the series itself, so I had no clue that Dragon Ball was an animated series. Now, normally if a person is watching a movie that is not good, nobody would even attempt to watch the series, thinking it is similar to the movie. Now, what does that tell you? Is that, yes, as a teen, I did in fact enjoy this movie, and I thought it was pretty decent at the time. Silly me. I even joined a little group that played this game on a chat website. And so, this was my start of the anime rabbit hole, as I went from watching Pokemon with the mindset of being a cartoon series, to me watching the Dragon Ball Evolution movie, to searching up the series, and seeing what Mr. Google recommended that is similar to Dragon Ball, watching those series, to then searching up different games of those series, because, well, I love games, to dancing Jump Ultimate Stars that was fairly interesting. I played it with different methods, you know what I refer to then finally watch or read up on a series that I had no idea even existed until this game. So yes, Evolution was what drew me into the rabbit hole, and Ultimate Stars was the carrot that kept me following it. Side tangent aside, let us officially start talking about the game. Jump Ultimate Stars is a 2D platform fighting game, made by Ganbarion and published by Nintendo in 2006. As I stated earlier, it is the sequel to Jump Superstars. Now, as a reminder, this is an English fan translation patch, so there are some things that are not accurate when translated, and some text is not translated, as I guess those are more hard-coded into the game, like the cutscenes for an instance. When you boot up the game, you see different planets in the galaxies far away. Everything seems peaceful. Then suddenly, a black hole appears which separates all of the planets to different galaxies. Jump Pirate, the magazine mascot, the protector, and I guess god of the Jump universe, sees all of the commotions, feeling helpless and in despair because he is just a floating head. But with a string of luck, 5 brave heroes escaped from the clutches of the black hole. Those brave heroes being Naruto, Gintoki, Goku, this weird guy, and Luffy. However, the heroes are turned into comas, and with no time at all, Jump Pirate takes all of the heroes and at super speed is able to travel to Earth in a few seconds, which would mean that Jump Pirate is canonically the fastest character alive, so take what you want with that. He explains that an evil force has taken all of the residents of each world and turned them into mindless evil fighting machines, and it is up to the 5 heroes to get them back, and get them as allies to our cause. So using Earth as a short training arc, we finally set foot outside to the next galaxy to save all and return everything to what it was. Now, if I had to say to you which games would be closest to it, it would have been Street Fighter and Smash Bros. And there is a reason for it. Jump Pirate explains to us while in our training arc on how to fight. So the way it works is pretty straightforward at basic level. You have a huge stage you fight in with movements like left, right, jump and down for block. When it comes to actual fighting, I think it would be akin to Street Fighter, just minus all of the circle movements you have to do to perform certain attacks. You basically have to use the D-pad and the attack button to string attacks together to perform a strong combo. You have the usual stuff like weak, strong and special attacks. The weaker attack is usually the one that you will start with, as it is a faster move but won't do too much damage to the opponent. The strong attack dish out more damage to the opponent, but it takes a while to start and to end the animation, leaving you open for potentially getting comboed. Then there are the special attacks that use this special bar and gets consumed upon use, and will fill up slowly or get coins to get them faster. I really like this gameplay compared to the more arena based anime fighting games, as you have to be more involved in what moves you use and in what order of attacks. The arena based games are usually just a button mashing competition, and you can kinda just turn your brains off while playing Jump Force. Jump Ultimate Stars, you can certainly kinda do that, but you still need to use your attacks and combo efficiently, and the more you play the game, the easier it might get since you know how that character works. But what makes this game so fun, even for its frustrating moments, is the actual character you will be using throughout the game. There are so many characters that you can try out, with moves being really different from each other, and all in all is more fun to play. I really wish that Shounen Jump tried to make another game similar to this one, because I assure you, it might have been a game in a fighting tournament if there was one. The reason for why I say it is that the game is even more involved than you think it is, because you can actually have more characters in your team, with multiple supporters or helper characters, and they're strategizing the best team synergy and what combos work best with who and so forth. Those things can be made on the manga deck section. In the manga deck section, there are 4x5 grid spaces, and within those spaces, you can put in different comas, the curse that initially is set upon the characters. But here you can create your dream team of literally any playable character if you wanted to. But before that, I would need to explain what a coma is in the first place. A coma is basically a character panel taken from the real life manga counterpart, just with more colors and out of context panels. I did mention very early about helpers and supporters. Well, these are comas that you can use in a fight, but are not a playable character in that specific deck. The support characters are sent out to do specific things to help you on the battlefield for a few seconds, like making Sanji heal female characters, Yamamoto with his standing slash attacks, or even getting Devil Bat to help you as a few second battle companion, so on and so forth. There are more support characters than there are battle characters. These supports take up around 2 or 3 spaces on the grid. The helper comas at first doesn't really do anything on the battlefield, as you cannot send them out to battle like with the support characters, and only takes 1 grid space, but rather what it does is supporting the the playable battle characters with certain moveset. So to give an example for what I mean, Eve from Black Cat has the triple jump ability. Now let's say you put in Luffy, which does not have triple jump as an innate ability, but if you put Eve beside Luffy with the arrows pointing towards him to indicate that this helper ability will go towards this specific character, and with Eve's help, Luffy can finally triple jump. Each helper has their own set of abilities, and you could in theory just have Luffy be a monster by pumping him with different helper komas. However, it is not possible to stack ability komas. The highest number of characters that you can have is around 4, if everything fits within the grid spaces, due to the fact that you need at least one of each komas, being the battle, supporter, and helper komas. Now, there's more to the manga deck making stuff, and that is the character interaction. When you choose a battle character, at the information screen, you can see the usual stuff, the health bar, or in this case, the J soul, the special attack bar, what the character's innate ability is, but here you can see 3 different question mark boxes, and these question mark boxes will have a character's name on it. If any of the 3 characters are close to the battler, a dialogue box will pop up. Now, there are the obvious ones, like how some One Piece characters will talk to Luffy, but also another character called Cobra, a character from the series also called Cobra, will also talk to Luffy, because of the fact that both of them are pirates in some way, shape or form. Another example is Muscle Man talking to Tsuneyoshi, since both have something fire related. It is those dialogue boxes that make the game have more interesting stuff, and it makes you think of which character will talk with who, based on your knowledge of these characters. And who knows, maybe some have something in common. A major problem I can see with that though, is that if you're not knowledgeable with these characters, I can't see any resemblance with one another, then you may have to use a guide to get all those extra dialogues, as picking 3 random characters that you think will have some sort of connection, but I still highly recommend that you do that, not just because of the interesting dialogues, but also gives your battle character a bit more extra health. Only downside is the specific character will need to be in the deck itself for it to have any effect. To use the characters that you made in the fight itself, you either just press the touch screen or use the LR buttons to quickly change to either another battler or a supporter. Those are usually handpicked out while making your manga deck, so you are the ones in control of who is the leader and which komas gets the LR buttons for use. Now, there's also a rock, paper, scissors type of deal here, but here it is fighters, knowledge, lather. Each has a different color and is attached to certain characters. What it only does is to give you an advantage in battle against opponents of the opposite nature, as you mostly just deal more damage and vice versa. So the way it works is fighters beat knowledge, knowledge beats lather, and lather beats fighters. While we do have the deck making phase, you still need to actually unlock the character specific Koma manga panel to be able to make your team in the first place. That is where the evolution chart comes into play. Each Koma starts off as a single gridder, using your currencies in a form of different gems that you collect naturally, and doing so, you can get a stronger version, albeit if they are a playable character at least. What's fun though is that evolving another character can add another character's evolution chart, giving you an extra Koma panel. An example might be Usopp's or Shanks' evolution chart might affect Luffy's chart, and so on. Not only that, but the evolution chart also gives some nice side things as well, like unlocking stages, BGM, and even a summary or information of certain mangas. This is how I know some of these manga and anime series because of that. After all of that, we can finally get to the planet side of things now. When you do the story mode, there are different planets that you can visit. You get to see what the manga might be about with some quick look into it before heading in. And each planet has certain missions that you have to do to progress the story. Now, each has one common win condition, and that is to get first place. Simple. Now, there are 3 common missions: the death, the point, and the collecting stars matches. The death match is just a survival round while trying to eliminate your opponents. The point match is just how many KO points you can get, and the star collecting is what it sounds like. You just collect the stars to finish the match. In my opinion, I prefer the death match. There are also some minor missions that are not as fun as the 3 common ones. The reason for it is because some of them actually just slows down the game. Some of the mission is having to protect someone from not taking damage for at least 20 seconds, destroy destroying the walls, or running away and not taking any damage. Now, I did not mention this yet. While the requirements to complete the match is just to win, there is, however, more to it than just that. Each has in total 5, sometimes 6, but I'll come back to that later, side objective that you can do. And those are the ones that you will be looking out for, because they are actually giving the character that you want in that specific planet. Those side objectives actually change the way you want to handle it. Some could be getting 4+ points, defeating your opponents with the opposite nature, using your specials or support to KO an opponent, or even not using any specials. Now, these are hidden from you, so you have no idea what they contain, and you mostly play that mission, see what you completed, and from there, try to deduce the rest of it. Now, there is also a 6th one. Now, while the 5 objectives are hidden, the only thing hiding it is just a bunch of question marks. But the 6th one is completely hidden, and the only way to know what it is just using a guide. As an example, you have to go to the 3rd One Piece mission, and from there you must avoid taking any damage at all. That way it will open up that you found a hidden objective. Now, do that to some, but they are all different, so they are not the same, and they are hidden in some planets, which would make this even more annoying if you wanted to do this guideless, and you will need to do those to be able to unlock hidden planets. All the battle stages are really interesting and have their own set of gimmicks, albeit some are not as fun, and honestly some are a bit annoying to deal with, like the ice stage in space where you slide all across the field, or the Gintama stage with just the way bombs dropping down. There's this one mission in the Gintama stage, while not hard, it's just more so annoying, because if the opponent has Katsura as a support, they can instantly call him, and you are literally flying all over the place, which usually happens when you attack or do any movement at all. Throughout the story, after finishing a galaxy before going to the next one, a silhouette of a man is speaking to the player, saying some things I don't really understand, but I guess they are pissed off that you keep squandering their plans for world domination, or something like that, I don't know. We meet this person every time we reach a new galaxy point, saying more stuff. Spoilers! It is revealed that the mastermind behind all of this is a character called Dr. Mascherito from the Dr. Slump series. But before we fight him, we go through some sort of pop quiz, which I totally not aced, since this is like getting the Japanese test, but you cannot even speak the language. I don't actually know what happens if you get full marks, or if it changes anything on a fight after. So we fight Dr. Mascherito with some villains on his side, he runs away, and there's that. But then he bumps into a metal structure, and there is the actual main villain, Dr. Mascherito's future self. I think I'm not sure, but we defeat him for one last time, as we never get to see him ever again. What I do like though is that the villain is an actual character from the Shounen Jump series, comparable to Jump Force, where the villain is this alien looking creature that was probably someone's OC, which is funny to say since we do make OCs in the game. Now, before ending this video, I want to give out some quick fun facts that I read up on when looking at the manga summary sections. Author called Yabuki Kentaro, the author for Black Cat made To Love Ru, and the last interesting one is a manga called Demonic Detective Noogami Neuro. The author is Yusei Matsui, who, if you don't know, also made Assassination's Classroom. There are probably even more interesting facts on different authors' previous works, up to the present, but that is something that is a fun little thing to do while bored. But yeah, I really hope you liked this video, as this is my first time talking about the game that is dear to my heart, since I did explain earlier how this game shaped my anime-loving childhood. And yes, while Dragon Ball Evolution is a disaster of a movie adaptation, it is still a movie that is also dear to me, because this one was the start of the line for me. Well, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.